right, everybody, here we are, MultiGen Collectables, and we are in Anaheim, as you can see here, at the West Coast Card Show, here at the Anaheim Convention Center. And it just so happened that we were in Anaheim for a completely different event. So we were already scheduled to be in Anaheim for my daughter's dance competition at the Disney World Resort, or Disneyland Resort. And lo and behold, look online, and you got the West Coast Card Show here in Anaheim. So I got Kylan and Lyra with me, and we're about to go check it out. So come on in with us, and let's see what this West Coast Card Show is all about. We're gonna try to get in on Friday. It's Friday today. I bought tickets, but for some reason it showed that I bought tickets for Saturday. And today's Friday, day 2 of the 4-day event, and we're gonna try to get in. So come on in with us. All right, everybody, so we got in. We are officially in the West Coast Card Show. There's hella it's already, right when you walk in, man, right when you walk in, you're already greeted. And there's a plethora of vendors. So here's a look. All right, so we were able to get in. They were able to swap out our tickets, our Saturday tickets for Friday tickets. And I'm gonna get some footage. Here we are again at the West Coast Card Show in Anaheim.
Pokémon members may have your attention. Who does not wear it, that somebody's trying to offer Pokémon cards to a vendor. Please make sure you're checking what you're buying. Once again, West Coast Card Show vendors, please make sure you are identifying what you're buying. Something is not seen trying to unload Pokémon cards that are.
All right, so at this point, we're gonna start the voiceover segment of the video. And that's mainly because I wanted to give you some cleaner audio than the noise that was gonna be heard throughout the video. Didn't necessarily want all that background noise and the crowd noise. Now, as you can see, there were a number of different tables around this massive room. I think I mentioned in the intro, I had not been to a card show of this size in such a long time. About 10 months ago, my wife and I went to the East Bay Card Show in Santa Clara at the Santa Clara Convention Center, and that was a huge card show. This one I feel was slightly bigger than that, and it went from Thursday to Sunday in the middle of July. Not knowing how big this card show was going to be, I was able to get tickets for myself along with the free tickets for my son and my daughter, which you see here walking in front of me, who I also decided I was going to let record. So I actually ended up giving them the camera at some point, I want to say pretty soon in the video, and let them walk around the showroom floor and just get footage. Tons of vendors. And for those of you that went to the West Coast Card Show here in Anaheim, and you were there for at least one day, or maybe went back for 2 or 3, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So many vendors. Now, immediately when we walked in the door, we were greeted with what felt like so much overwhelm, not knowing where to start. Do we walk in the door and go straight? Do we walk in the door and go left, go right? And I think we ended up going right down the middle and just walking straight in. You do have so many different vendors, people buying, so many people trading, so many people selling, obviously. You had a lot of TCG vendors, so many TCG vendors. I would say, however, that even though there was so many, it felt like it was a little bit more on the TCG than the sports, but it wasn't like 80% TCG, 20% sports. I'd say it was about 70-30, maybe 65-35 as far as TCG to sports ratio. This table here in particular, you know, you have all the binders full of TCG cards, along with all the boxes, selling packs. Vendors like this one here, who were from LA, they were some cool folks I got a chance to talk to. You know, they have all their slabs there in their showcases, along with their sealed product. I was talking to them about buying some, you know, some sealed prismatic, looking at their prices. It's at about this time in the video, as you can tell from the vantage point where the kids ended up getting a chance to record. I do apologize for the shakiness of the video. I do apologize for the content being so shaky. But that's what happens when you have the recording being done by an 11-year-old who's never actually recorded with a camera before. But I wanted them to get a chance of you know, having some ownership in that process. My son, who you see in the video carrying those squishy toys, you know, kids love squishy toys, and there were a couple vendors selling some squishy toys. He actually ended up buying one of these for himself and the other for his sister. So they got two of these squishy ducks. The one that he bought initially ended up with a hole in it. And he came to me, he's like, "Oh, Dad, the vendor sold me a bad squishy." I was like, "Well, you had a chance to make it right." I said, "You need to go back to him, explain to him, hey, sir, you know, you sold me something that didn't last very long, and I'd like to see if I could return it." And he did, you know, and I was trying to give him the ownership of being able to do that on his own. So I was proud of him for doing that. And I'll come back to a little bit more of that story here in a second. But as you see at this point in the video, they found a life-size Eevee from Pokemon walking around. So they were able to get some footage of Eevee. And by this point in the video, they made their way back to find me in the middle of making a purchase. This vendor was the only vendor that I was able to find selling Prismatic Evolution ETBs for $150 and best price on the floor. So shout out to this man. I believe his name is Miguel. So shout out to Miguel. Had the best price on the floor that day on Friday, day number 2. Was able to walk away with one ETB at $150. And then you have stuff like this where, you know, among all the vendors, all the showcases, all the slabs, all the sealed product, you have memorabilia at this card show. So the West Coast Card Show definitely had something for everybody. They also had the kiosk here. I don't remember the company that was involved in this alongside Upper Deck, but they had this product. I don't remember the name of this product whatsoever, but it looked interesting nonetheless. And they were sharing the Upper Deck make your own sports card, make your own trading card booth. And so Lyra got a chance to make her own sports card, which was really, really cool. Kylan didn't want to for whatever reason, but Lyra was open to the idea of having her Upper Deck sports card debut. And so here you see her taking her headshot. And then a little bit later in the video, you're going to see that they took that photo and pressed it onto her own trading card. So it's officially her own sports card. So shout out to Upper Deck. So as you see here, free personalized trading cards. So now this is the process that was really cool, you know, getting a chance to see what this entails, you know, taking the image, sticking it onto the backing of the card, and then taking that whole front and back adhered together, placing it into the frame, into the press, taking that press and making sure that the two sides are stuck together. And it was really cool to see how that that is made, and there you go. It's all cut out and pressed, framed perfectly, and Larry got her first trading card. We continued walking around. Again, this room is massive, and we get to this showcase, and this was, I think, my favorite showcase out of the entire show. Every single one of these slabs is a PSA 10. PSA 10 of the 1990 Marvel Series 1 set. And as you see, their stand says Heritage Auctions. The Heritage Auctions Marvel comic cards showcase was just insane. I was blown away at how every single card was a PSA 10. I was just blown away by that. More sports memorabilia. More vendors with their showcases. There was different rows up and down the aisles that I noticed had, some were designated for people buying only, some for selling. And then you had this guy who was super cool. He basically has a booth in which he sells his art. And all of his art, I believe, is done by pen, ballpoint pen, on baseballs and pieces of paper. Super, super cool. This is towards one of the back sides of the room. There you see the PSA partnership booth there with a bunch of memorabilia. This is definitely on the side of the room where I would say had more sports versus TCG. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, how do you divide a room? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you separate in a room this size where the vendors are going to be placed? Which side of the room will have vendors? Which side of the room will have people buying? Which side of the room is going to be corporate? All the corporate trading card companies. Which side is going to be sports? Which side is going to be TCG? Unexpectedly, actually ended up going back for a second day. Didn't think I was going to go back, but I ended up going back the second day, Saturday in the afternoon with my mom's husband, Papa Mark. Shout out to Papa Mark, man. Papa Mark and I, we've been bonding over sports cards and trading cards recently since about the beginning of July. And this show happened in the middle of July. We ended up going back, and on Saturday, ended up walking the floor for like 3 hours, just up and down the aisles, looking at all the booths, looking at some cards, just tripping out on the prices of some of these cards, amazing to see what the high-end sports card market really looks like. And a lot of these vendors that you see on this row had many of those cards. The vendors that are buying, like you see that sign that said 80 to 100%. It's just wild, to think that people are buying cards, especially the high-end cards that are, 5 figures and up, and not even on the low end of 5 figures. Some of them are 4 figures, anywhere between $1,000 to $9,000, and then you get the $10,000 and up club. And you're just tripping out on the price of some of these cards, just not knowing that cards could be so expensive, or that you can hit a card or buy a card or find a card that can be resold for $20,000, $40,000, $80,000, even $10,000. That's just insane to me. So yeah, we ended up walking around for about 3 hours, and then ended up finding one vendor only that had some Marvel 2026 Topps Chrome cards that were singles in some boxes, and was able to come up on 8 of the 10 Black Panther anniversary cards from this year's Marvel Chrome set. So that was really dope. Had them at a good fair price. So that was nice being able to do that and find those cards. And then ran into the homie from San Jose, the big homie right here, Tito from Sports Cards and Memorabilia, who has his own set of shows here in the Bay Area. And so Tito hosts a lot of card shows in San Jose, and I have vended at 2 of them. Just a real cool dude. You know, he's got his sports memorabilia and his cards. He has a little bit of TCG, a little bit of sports. He's got his slabs in his showcase. He's got his sports memorabilia. So shout out to Tito. It was cool running into him. Had no idea that I was going to run into him in Anaheim, of all places. Also ran into a TCG vendor who's a former student athlete of mine. So shout out to Omar. Saw him, and that was a shock, you know, to run into people that I knew. I had no idea that was going to happen. I wasn't even planning on going until I found out about the show. So it wasn't like we went to Anaheim for the show specifically. We just happened to stumble across a card show. And then you have a vendor like you see here in front of you on camera who has massive amounts of Japanese Pokémon and TCG cards. And we're not talking singles, we're talking sealed and unsealed boxes like you see here on camera. This young man had like 5 tables of just nothing but sealed and unsealed TCG, and most of it was Japanese. It was insane. And then you had another vendor next to him who had basically the same setup, just massive amounts of boxes of sealed and unsealed TCG. On the second day, when I went back with Papa Mark, there was a vendor that had stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of sealed sports cards. It was just insane. It was just insane to see the amount of product that some of these vendors have. You know, it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing. But nonetheless, had a great time going to this show, hanging out with my kids on this day, and then hanging out with Papa Mark on the second day. As you see Kylan with his squishy duck. Kids love the squishy toys, man. Definitely learned that lesson. Learned some things while I was out here, especially recognizing the changes and the fluctuation in sports cards and how the high-end market really is alive and well. And as you see here, this was the only thing I bought on this day. The only thing that I came up on, which is what I was actually looking for, which was this Prismatic Evolutions ETB. Again, shout out to Raul for the best price in the house, $150 for this ETB. At the time of recording, the market price on this Prismatic ETB was, I believe, $170, $175, and a lot of people had them for that price. So being able to get a little discount on that was great. So shout out to the West Coast Card Show, all the vendors, all the sponsors, everybody that was here. It was a great experience. And who knows, maybe next summer when we'll probably be back in Anaheim, who knows, might attend one more time. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I wanted to give you all a little bit of a different look. I figured, hey, we're down in Anaheim, we're at the card show, let's make some content. You know, let's record some content and give the viewers a little bit of something different. And for those of you that have been watching the videos, especially over the last couple of weeks with all the Marvel card content, all the Marvel characters that you guys have been commenting about, listen, this is a small channel. I'm not looking to grow it overnight, and I know that's not going to happen. But all of you who are watching, supporting the channel, dropping comments, maybe even sharing the videos and becoming subscribers and liking, I can't thank you enough. So thank you for supporting MultiGen Collectables here on YouTube. More videos to come and more content to hopefully give you a chance to reconnect with and share in the storytelling. to share in the journey. Shout out to all the card vendors, everybody involved. And if you went to any card show over the summer, let me know which card show you went to in the comments. And if you were here at the West Coast Card Show, let me know as well. All right? Let me know that you were here, and maybe we'll connect next time. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace out.